So the next graph that you need to be able to draw is a box and whisker. So for a box and whisker you need 5 values: the minimum, the lower quartile, the median, the upper quartile, and the maximum. So let's just jump in straight into this example here. For hockey, let's determine the minimum, and that's easy. That's just the lowest, which is 11. And we'll do the maximum, which is 24. Then we have a look at the median. We have 8 values, so we go 8 plus 1 over 2. So that's 4.5. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in here. So we have 17. Median of 17. Now for the lower quartile, we take the median of the lower half. 1, 2. The middle is in between here, so we've got 13. The upper quartile, will be up here, 1, 2, in between here, in between these two, so 20. And then for football, the minimum is 10. The maximum is 23. The median, once again at the 4.5 value, 1, 2, 3, 4, in between. Yeah, so 20. Then we take the median of the lower half, in between here, which is 18.5, and the upper half, which is going to be here, which is at 22.5. And then what you'll do is, hopefully you'll have graph paper. So then on your graph paper, you would construct a scale. I'll just move this up here. Construct your scale. In fact, we might just rotate this. We'll start at 0 here and we'll end at 1, 3, 4, 5. We'll end at 25 here. And then this will be 5, 10, 15 and 20. Then let's have a look at hockey and start looking at our points. We need to rule a line at each of the points that we've identified. I'll do this in a different colour so it's easier to see. Line at 11, then we rule a line at 13. Then we rule a line at 17, 20, and 24. Now, here's where it becomes a box and a whisker. You make a box out of the median and quartiles, and then you draw a whisker to connect the minimum to the lower quartile and the maximum to the upper quartile. And you want to label this hockey. Then for football, we'll do pretty much the same thing. We rule our lines at all of those points. 10, then 18.5, then at 20, then at 22.5, then at maximum at 23. Then we rule to make our box, and then we'll draw in our whiskers. And we'll label this football. And we should give this a title. We would say, in the context of this, could be like number of fouls. Yeah, see it's number of fouls. So you'd write number of fouls in sports matches. And this is important to label it if you've got more than one box and whisker plot. So how can we pick this apart? How can we analyse this? So for central tendency, always talk about the median for the box and whisker, because the median is given right in the plot. That's your median. So already we can see, I'll just change back to black now, football is higher median number of fouls than hockey. You would not really talk about the mode or the mean. Then you would talk about the spread, and here you would pretty much only talk about the interquartile range, not the range. And the interquartile range is given from here and here, so all this space in between. And we can tell football has smaller interquartile range than hockey. So it's a bit more consistent. And then we can take a look at the shape or the skewedness. And so if you actually, and as we looked in previously with skewedness, we know that if there are a couple of low values, and the tail is to the left, so if we actually draw that, we're going to see this is what it looks like. And we know that this is negatively skewed. And for the hockey, it's kind of the opposite, but it's a lot more symmetrical. But still it is a little bit, it is slightly positively skewed, but it is mostly symmetrical. But again, if you look here, it's actually kind of symmetrical. It's a little bit symmetrical, but it is a bit positively skewed. And the other final thing is outliers. And you can see in football, you've got a major outlier here. That 10 is very low. And so, how do you determine outliers? And obviously this is pretty obvious, but you want, for something to be an outlier, outliers are 1.5 times the IQR below the lower quartile or above the upper quartile. And this is called outside inner fences. Extreme outliers are 3 times the IQR below the LQ or above the upper quartile. And so we can see, if we have a look at our interquartile range, it's 23 minus 18.5, which is equal to 4.5. 4.5 times 1.5 equals 6.75, and then our lower quartile, 18.5 minus 6.75, that is equal to 11.75, and 10 is less than 11.75, so it's an outlier. Yeah, and if it was more than 3 times the IQR below the lower quartile, you'd call that outside the outer fences, or an extreme outlier.